Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really cutting straight to the core of something vital for any service business. It's all about how you consistently get more customers. We've got a whole stack of sources here laying out, kind of roadmap from understanding different customer types all the way to, believe it or not, AI-powered receptionists. So our mission today, let's try and cut through the noise and figure out what really makes that phone ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for service-based businesses, a click, an impression, that's often not enough. The real win, the thing that matters, is the phone call. Someone actually ready to talk, maybe book a service, or at least have a proper conversation. So this deep dive, we're going to uncover some really practical strategies for that. And we'll put a spotlight on a pretty unique, no-nonsense approach from one agency, and also this really interesting AI innovation called This is Gracie, which is genuinely changing the game, especially for contractors.
Okay, interesting. So you're saying we'll discover not just the basics of the customer journey, but how this kind of practical philosophy and some smart tech,
Yeah.
how they can simplify things and get, actual results, real revenue.
Exactly. It's about understanding that for these businesses, it's always been about calls, not just clicks. That's the key difference.
Right. So let's lay the foundation. We hear about the marketing funnel all the time, top, middle, bottom, TOVU, MOFU, BOFU. But for service businesses, maybe the trick is realizing each stage needs a totally different kind of conversation, maybe even a different channel.
That's a great way to put it. You have to meet the customer where their head's at, right?
Yeah.
Their intent. So think about the top of funnel, TOFU. These are people who are, well, maybe just curious. They might not even realize they have a problem you solve yet. Or if they do, they're definitely not ready to buy. So the goal here, it's about visibility, sure, but cheap visibility and starting to build a relationship.
Okay, so not hitting them with a hard sell right away.
Definitely not. Think about, say, challenger banks. They often run ads focusing on the pain points of old banks, how slow they are, maybe the fees. They're tapping into a general frustration before they even push their app too hard. They're creating awareness around a solution. Or content marketing. A law firm might put out an article answering a broad question like, how much does it cost to get a signature witnessed in court?
So providing value up front,
Yeah.
establishing expertise.
Precisely. It's not a direct sales pitch. But once that curious person lands on your site from searching that question, then you offer something valuable, a lead magnet, maybe like a tax prep checklist from H&R Block, for instance. You offer that in exchange for their email, and boom, they're in your funnel. They've gone from just browsing to being an actual lead you can nurture.
Okay, so you're building trust, getting the permission to communicate, all before they're even thinking about hiring you specifically. That makes sense. So from that general curiosity, we move down. Middle of funnel, MOFU. This is where they're starting to seriously consider options.
Right. Exactly. MOFU is where things get interesting. They're actively looking for solutions. They might know about you. They might be comparing you to others. This is where your positioning is absolutely critical. What makes you different? We saw this example of a Texas law firm. They really highlight being veteran-owned and Spanish-speaking. Though those aren't just features, they're powerful differentiators that connect with specific people.
So how do you figure out what makes you different, what resonates?
Well, one interesting tactic is searching for terms like why do plumbers or why do lawyers, fill in your industry.
Yeah.
That often uncovers common frustrations or questions people have. You can then build your unique selling proposition around solving that pain point, like the only airline that never overbooks. That directly addresses a known issue.
That's clever, using their own search behavior to find your angle.
Yeah. And case studies are huge here, showing concrete results, like Exposure Ninja showing how their digital marketing grew another business. That's proof. And for those folks who downloaded your lead magnet earlier, now's the time for targeted emails. Maybe a sequence explaining your process, showing success stories. We've seen stats where up to 25% of revenue can come from well-segmented email marketing to these MOFU leads.
Okay, so nurturing them along. Got it. We've gone from curious to considering. Now the finish line. Bottom of funnel, BOFU. These are the folks ready to pull the trigger, right? The Apple Pay finger is itchy, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
BOFU customers are gold. They are close to buying. So here, you need those direct search ads for commercial terms. Things like emergency plumber near me, virtual receptionist services, get mortgage quote. These clicks cost more, so everything needs to be sharp. The ad copy, the landing page. Look at MoneyPenny, the virtual receptionist service. Their page has a super clear headline, big get a quote button, no messing around.
Makes sense. Remove all friction.
Right. And another smart BOFU play, targeting alternative or comparison keywords. So Searching for money-penny alternatives or competitors to your brand, this catches people actively weighing options and lets you directly state why you're better.
Ooh, intercepting them right at the decision point.
Exactly. And then there's the really sophisticated stuff, like deep retargeting, not just showing the same ad to everyone who visited your site, but segmenting. Say, H&R Block targeting just professional accounting firms with specific ads if those users visited the Tax Pro section of their website. That shows serious intent. And that same logic applies to email. Hyper-targeted emails based on specific actions they took. It's all about the right message, right time.
That really paints a clear picture of the whole journey. Now, you mentioned an agency that really lives this, especially for service businesses, Micromanaged Media.
Yes, Micromanaged Media, founded by Bob Rutledge. They're kind of a boutique agency focusing specifically on blue-collar contractors.
Yeah.
Think plumbers, HVAC techs, roofers, mainly in the southeastern U.S., and their whole philosophy, their entire reason for being, is just making the phone ring for these guys, consistently, profitably.
Okay, making the phone ring. So what's their specific approach? You called it no nonsense.
It really is. It's built on these 4 core ideas. First, merit over metrics. They could not care less about clicks, impressions, vanity stuff. It's all about revenue. Did the phone call lead to a profitable job? That's the metric.
Okay, results driven. I like it.
Second, manual beats machine. This is interesting. Bob Rutledge is, let's say, highly skeptical of things like Google's smart bidding. He believes deeply that human expertise, making careful manual bid decisions, is way better for profitability than letting an algorithm take over. He's managing bids himself, using really specific exact match keywords, total control. He thinks the machine optimizes for Google's profit, not the client's.
Wow, okay. That's countercultural in today's automated world.
It really is. Third, local wins. Makes total sense for trades, right? Forget splashy national branding. It's all about hyper-local, geo-targeted campaigns focused on specific services. Finding someone in that neighborhood who needs that specific repair right now.
Makes perfect sense. Get found where the work is.
And finally, no contracts, no excuses. Simple as that. They have to deliver results month after month or the client walks. It forces this relentless focus on tangible value. So their services. It's meticulous Google and Bing Ads management again, manual bids, exact match. It's strong elital SEO, optimizing the Google business profile, managing reviews, and really detailed call tracking. They need to know which calls are good leads.
Okay, that focus on results is intense. But you mentioned call tracking. How do they make sure those aren't just any calls? Like, what happens if the plumber is, busy, up a ladder, under a sink? Can't answer. That's a lost lead, right?
And that is precisely where This is Gracie comes into the picture. And honestly, it's kind of revolutionary for these businesses. It's an AI phone receptionist, developed by Bob Rutledge himself, part of the Micromanaged Media service. Its main job, simple but so powerful, answer the phone when the contractor can't.
Okay, an AI receptionist. So Gracie picks up. What else can she do? Is it just like an answering machine?
Oh, much more. Gracie is trained to handle several things at once. She can instantly recognize if it's an existing customer calling, which is great for that personal touch. Crucially, she qualifies new leads. She can figure out if it's a genuine potential job or just, spam or a wrong number, filters the noise. And for the really urgent stuff, burst pipe, AC out in the summer heat, she can immediately identify those emergencies and route them properly. This means those super valuable BOFU calls, the ones maybe coming from Google local service ads or Thumbtack or Yelp, they never get missed. Gracie catches them.
Wow. So she's like a gatekeeper and a dispatcher all rolled into one AI. It's pretty impressive. How does she work technically? What's under the hood?
Yeah, it's clever stuff. She uses tools like Twilio for the actual call routing and getting transcripts, and then leverages AI like Retail AI for the voice interaction, making it sound natural, and OpenAI's Whisper API for understanding speech and summarizing calls. This tech stack lets her manage calls effectively. It basically acts as a kind of CRM light built into their whole system. And it's designed as part of their business in a box idea, low overhead for the contractor, no ongoing royalties for the tech. It makes advanced AI accessible.
That really does sound like it empowers the small guys, the owner-operators. Lets them focus on the actual plumbing or roofing or whatever it is, not just constantly managing the phone, getting jobs done. Okay, so we've got direct response ads, driving calls, and Gracie catching them. But what about building that longer-term trust, that community feeling that maybe leads to calls later? I guess that's where something like, say, Instagram could fit in.
Absolutely. You hit it exactly. Direct response gets the now business. Organic social, like Instagram, builds the later business, builds that foundation of trust. Let's stick with plumbers. How could they use Instagram? Well, visual proof is huge, Before and after photos. Gnarly clogged drain versus sparkling clean pipe, or a rusty old water heater next to a shiny new one. Instant credibility.
Right, seeing is believing.
Totally. Then, helpful content, short videos, like 30 seconds on how to shut off your main water valve. Super useful in an emergency. It shows you know your stuff, builds trust, makes you the helpful expert. And humanizing the business. Show the tools, the branded truck, maybe quick intros to the team. Makes you seem like real people, not just a faceless company.
Less intimidating, more approachable.
Exactly. And social proof. Cannot stress this enough. Get customer testimonials, a quick video thank you, or even just graphics made from 5-star reviews. Hugely persuasive. Instagram stories are great for urgency, limited time offers, letting people know you have emergency slots open right now. Use local hashtags, obviously. Hashtag Gulf Shores Plumber, hashtag Baldwin County HVAC. Got to reach the local audience. You can showcase specialties too. Maybe detailed posts about installing those fancy tankless water heaters if that's your niche.
So really using all the different features.
Yeah. Answer FAQs as posts or reels. Why does my toilet keep running? People search for that stuff. Maybe even go live briefly from a complex job site, give a quick, authentic tour, builds transparency, and make sure your 24/7 emergency service is plastered everywhere. Bio, key posts. When disaster strikes, they need to know instantly who to call.
It's clear there are so many ways now. DMs for questions, reels for tips, even those little notes for quick updates for service businesses to connect. It's not just static photos anymore.
Definitely not. And a lot of this Instagram stuff, the tips, the behind the scenes, it really feeds the TOFU and MOFU stages, doesn't it? You're building awareness, educating people, making them feel comfortable with you before they even need you urgently. So when that BOFU moment hits, you're already top of mind. You've nurtured that relationship. That phone call feels natural.
Okay, so it all connects. The ads drive immediate calls, Gracie catches them, social media builds the long-term pipeline. Which brings us back to that interesting tension you mentioned earlier between AI, like Gracie, and the human touch. Bob Rutledge at Micromanaged Media uses AI for reception, but you said he's skeptical of AI for managing the actual ad campaigns. He prefers manual control.
Yeah, that's the really fascinating part. He sees Google pushing towards automated smart bidding and broader keywords, and he thinks it's actually bad for contractor profitability. So this is Gracie, is strategic AI. It handles a specific, high-volume, somewhat repetitive task answering the phone, basic qualification. That frees up the human. Perfect use case for AI. But the core strategic decisions, how much to bid, which exact keywords to target for maximum profit, that stays human. Bob believes no AI, at least currently, can make those nuanced, profit-driven decisions better than an experienced human who understands the business, not just the clicks. He's constantly tweaking, watching the actual profitability of campaigns, not just what Google's dashboard says. It's about being lean, agile, and human-led where it counts most.
So pulling this all together, what are the big takeaways for you listening? It seems like successful service marketing needs, well, a really deep understanding of where your customer is mentally, that QFU, MOFU, BOFU journey. It needs a mix of channels, sharp paid ads, solid local SEO, and that community building on platforms like Instagram. And maybe most crucially, using tech smartly, like this is Gracie, using AI to make sure you never miss a valuable lead while keeping a human hand firmly on the strategic tiller, focused purely on profit.
That's a great summary. And it leaves us with a really important question for you to think about. In your own business, where are those specific points where technology could genuinely amplify what you do? Without sacrificing that essential human judgment, that personal touch that makes your service unique, where can AI help you be more human, not less?
Yeah, think about your own channels. Are you just getting clicks or are you getting the calls you need? Where should your phone be ringing? Hopefully this deep dive gives you some ideas on how to make that happen more often. Thanks for diving deep with us today.